This is the first week of the course, and the lectures are mostly about how gender and sex are different, why it's important to study gender, and what the feminist movement was and is all about. I'm not going to get too much into the material here as the lectures cover it nicely, but one thing I really want to highlight is the difference between sex and gender and why this matters. Certainly, times are changing, and people are becoming more tolerant and more accepting of people who are different. Basically, anyone who doesn't fit society's idea of a normal man or a normal woman. But there are still a lot of people who think that transgender issues aren't important. That in fact there's no such thing as transgender, or it's just a mental illness, or that society is being ridiculous by supporting transgender people in transitioning or encouraging them to undergo hormone treatments or sexual reassignment surgeries. But hopefully after taking this course, you'll be able to refute those ideas, to point out that it's in fact ridiculous to insist that sex and gender are exactly the same thing, and that it's not just some new-fashioned cool idea that gender is a social construction. And hopefully after taking this course, you'll be more tolerant of differences. That person you see walking down the street where you can't quite tell whether they're a man or a woman, maybe that used to bother you before. Or maybe it just made you uncomfortable because you didn't understand why they weren't obviously presenting as either a male or a female. And maybe it will still make you uncomfortable, but at least you know where your feelings are coming from and you can work on changing that. It's hard to shift how you view gender if it's just been very black and white, so to speak, if you've never really thought about how gender is understood or constructed in our society, or why we have such different stereotypes and expectations of men and women, or what the consequences are for treating girls and boys and men and women so differently are, then this course might be a bit of a shock, and it might feel pretty challenging at times. It's not comfortable to think that our parents or grandparents or caregivers may have behaved in ways that reinforce damaging gender stereotypes and roles by teaching us that boys don't cry or girls have to look pretty. So be prepared at times to feel uncomfortable, either because you realize that your own or others' attitudes and behaviors may not be that ideal. But once we know better, we can do better.